Good evening, everybody,
Or morning.
or
That's
morning.
true. You don't know what time people listen to
That's
this.
true. Hello, everybody. Yes, hello, everybody. Hey, this is Kim Next,
And I am Demond
and
Chambliss.
I was just talking to Damon earlier about something that's been on my mind. Yesterday, we went to our youngest child's orientation for high school,
Oh yeah.
and I was in my feelings about it because it seems just like yesterday we had her, and here we are now with our last child graduating here, and the 4 years will fly by, and
Oh.
we will eventually, inevitably, be official empty nesters.
Ooh. Ooh, that's true.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to pick your brain a little because you are
I
technically
I've been
kind
I've been
of,
an empty nester for a long
yeah,
time.
yeah,
Like seriously.
yeah. Well, yeah,
Yet
you're,
this is new to you.
yeah, yeah,
I just thought about that.
yeah.
This is
So
new to you.
yeah,
Like I'm divorced, and I've done the weekend
right,
thing and all
right,
the other stuff. But
right,
I've been prepared and had not kids. I've had
right,
kids not home for Christmas because
right.
the
All
holidays.
of that.
I gotta say something real quick. I don't know if this is funny, because you just said something. You and I went to school together,
Yep.
and the fact that we have kids, a boy and a girl who went to school together, I
Yeah.
still find that crazy.
What's
And
wild
they're
is
not friends.
no. I was gonna say that's the wild part
Yes,
about it.
and they're not even friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
graduated and everything together
Yes.
last year.
Sure
And
did.
yeah.
Sure did.
Mm.
So let me ask you this: Are you nervous? Like,
I
where are you at with it?
I really have been intentional. I've been intentional, as of late, the last year or so.
Okay.
Maybe since we moved back intentionally, more so, to just try to discover myself a little more and try to find my place in existence in the world as Kim. So many times I think there's a double standard in our lives with men and women where we don't mark men by he's a dad, he's a dad, he's a dad. We mark moms by,
Mom.
oh, I'm a
Absolutely.
mother, I'm a
Mom.
mom, I'm
Yeah.
a mom of three. Like someone may know that you're a dad of two or
Mm-hmm.
three, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't seem like it's not a conversation
It's not the
start. Yeah.
identity.
No.
It's
And
not the
so
identity.
I
And you've
don't
loved being a mom.
I love being a mother, and I think if I'm honest, there probably were more years than not that I specifically identified in that space as a part of my DNA, like who I am. And I have discovered that you can be whatever mother or father, whatever the other mother father type you want to be. You can be those things and it not be full encompassing as I am a mom. I'm Kim, who is a mom, who is a wife, who is a sister, who is a friend, who is a cousin, who is employed by XYZ, and giving it space to say it's a role that you perform or do, I don't think pulls away from the intensity or the value that you place in loving your children or being a good parent, because we get hung up on that, right? I remember having my second, and I was watching at the time a show called The Talk. I think it just went off the air, but it was like the original five. And I don't know if it's important who was on there because I don't know for not copyright infringement, but I don't want to slander. But they had a guest on there who had just had a baby, and they were kind of, oh, how's that with the newborn and all that stuff. And she said, well, I still have my pregnancy weight. I don't understand these women who go out here and they jump back into trying to get their bodies back to the after they have their baby. I want to focus my time on loving and being with my kid. And I was offended by that because I believe that there are people out there who can engage, love, mother, nurture, and be an amazing mother and still have time for self-care. And I have been very intentional. This is a side note to that, to this conversation, is that I felt like, particularly earlier on, I was always very intentional to make sure that I was at least giving myself some physical activity, some type of exercise for myself. I was exercising every day. Like
Right.
I still try to exercise as much as I can most days of the week. But I just found it a little offensive that she said like there was something wrong with those women who wanted to prioritize being able to take care of their bodies and try to get back in shape. But my point to that is the looming cloud that hangs over females about like what a good mother is or being a mom as being such a key component of our identity when we don't require that of men.
So do you think that's why it makes being an empty nester? Okay, let me ask you this. This is a good one. I'm a little biased for two reasons. I'm a dad, so my roles get out. It's like go.
Yeah.
But I was also a divorced dad, so I experienced empty nesting way early.
Right.
So because you identify, I think moms identify with being a mom more than dads identify with being dads, is empty nesting, is becoming an empty nester more of a culture shock for the mom. Especially, let's be honest, kind of a stay-at-home mom. I'm going to say kind of.
I recognize that probably most women, I recognize that a lot of women, I don't like most, it's like always and
You're like,
never.
I don't know them, yeah.
But I feel like there probably are women out there that have a harder time once the children are gone
Than the dads.
than the dads. And reflectively, because empty nesting is real, I think there is there's some hardship there when two people who have spent, let's be honest, I mean, it could be 18 years, could be 26 years. It just depends on when you had your first and your last.
Yep.
Now you're in this space that you're trying to discover who you are as humans, as a couple, individually. So that part, I think the coupleship is probably a component of complexity for both. I think the identity that sometimes women feel from parenting and being moms, I think having a sense of what that duty is. But I mean, it does evolve, which is the great thing, I guess, as God has made the path where you go from completely needy to going to school, to going to junior high, so by the time they're 18, they're not needing much from you other than the food, water, shelter, clothing kind of component, car. Yeah. So you're already gravitating towards a little more independence.
Yeah.
And I strongly believe that last year with your kids is turbulent because I think it's in preparation to get them out so that you're ready a little bit. Everybody's ready when the time comes.
Yeah.
But I think because we have in our society compartmentalized women in such a way that choose to be parents, that it's part of more in their DNA role. Mm-hmm. It's probably harder to find to just rediscover that new identity.
So are you looking forward to being an empty nester, or are you not looking forward? Like, I guess you don't have a choice unless you hold your kids captive.
No, you can't do that.
Is that part, like I'll say for you, you have a partner, you have a husband.
Yeah.
So it looks different for you two to become empty nesters because now you two have to figure out, hey, how are you?
Right.
Because it's not about the distractions anymore. But like a guy like me, when they're gone, I'm walking around the house in circles like, hello. Yeah. Now I could, obviously date, go be different. Right. But when there's two people.
Yeah, I think it's a challenge for couples. I think I remember Michelle Obama saying something like that she said, well, hello to Barack at some point once the girls were gone. I think for me, I have been really trying to work, as I said earlier, a little more on finding my whys that are independent of my children, independent of my husband, independent of my family. So I am excited about life rediscovering me. Nice. I'm not really sure that it will be easy once the last is gone. It's kind of a mixed feeling now because we have two gone and we have one here who's starting high school.
Right.
So it's a little almost there because she doesn't want anything to do with us most days anyway. She's kind of like,
she's 13.
Yeah, she's like, I'm off to my room. Don't bother me until dinner. That kind of thing. Yeah. So it's not like we're going from.
Wait till you buy her car.
Yeah.
She's gone. Like she's gone. Like bye.
And I mean, she literally will be doing that in 2 years. Yep. So I think I'm ready as much as And I think it matters when you're feeling good about where your kids are. You're feeling good about their heads, where they are in their life. Like, I don't worry about them in college. I worry about things that happen in the world, but I don't worry about them as much as, some people might worry a little more about their kids off doing their thing.
Yeah. So I'm saying is the first one left, everybody cries, right?
Yeah.
Second one leaves, you're like, okay. Well, for me, it was 1-2. Where mine is still at the house making money. So, but even now, even with my youngest at the house being 18, 19 here in a few months, all he talks about is when I move.
Right.
So it's a conversation for me. I'm so excited for him and just trying to get him prepared that now I am saying to myself, ooh, am I going to stay in the United States? Am I going to move to Panama? Am I going to move to Brazil? Am I
Okay.
going to like travel 30 days a year? Am I
Right.
going to
Right.
like I know I tell you this. I don't want a house.
Okay.
I don't want to cut grass. I
Yeah.
don't want to
Yeah.
and you know me, I love my
Yeah.
yard. I did all of that.
Yeah.
I don't want that anymore.
Yeah.
At all.
I think
Like at all.
I don't even want to speak this into the universe. I think for us, we are in a space where, as you probably hear in the background, I think we're in a space where we're not going to probably completely empty nest. Like I know people who don't have children who just have animals. They just have dogs. They just have cats.
You'll have
So
two dogs.
we
That's
have
what
two
get
dogs. Yeah, we have two
Yeah,
dogs.
yeah.
So I kind of feel like the responsibility of nothing will not be that. For instance, when we still travel, we travel with our kids, we travel with one kid or three, we still have to figure out what to do with our dogs. That's not likely going to change even when all three of our kids have moved out because we still have a responsibility here. So I don't even know, and I wouldn't compare having two dogs to having,
No, I know you're not comparing having a
Yeah.
kid, but you
Yeah.
know what? You know me. I've been wanting to think about getting a dog,
yeah,
and everyone says to me, "Don't get a dog." Like everybody
Yeah.
says, "Do not get a
Yeah,
dog." Because I mean, I haven't had a dog in 20 years,
yeah,
and so now I'm like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna get a dog." Right,
yeah,
and they're like, "Don't get a dog," but I don't know. I'm not at that place, but it
Yeah.
depends on where I land because I
Yeah.
don't want to get a dog, and then I can't take a trip for 30 days.
yeah. And you don't want to put a dog in a kennel for 30 days.
No, no,
That's, and I guess
no.
there's
Maybe my
yeah.
kids will get a dog.
And
And I can be the dog. sitter.
Well, and honestly, that's the thing. I didn't think about it. We haven't been in that specific position. I have been in situations where we've traveled for 9 or 10 days, and it's not a great feeling. I mean, you kind of do what you have to do, but you know that your dog's been sitting in a kennel for 10 days.
Yeah, but they're playing with their buddies.
Well, that our vet I said just consider this their vacation too.
It is.
But yeah. So, but as far as it goes, like, am I ready? I
Yeah,
think-
like you got
yeah.
this big old
Yeah.
beautiful house,
Yeah,
right?
I-
4 bedrooms or
yeah.
whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a lot. Like it's a big house.
Yeah.
So I'm saying is, would you go? This is too much, or do you go? We keep like, and I don't like. I'll use my buddy Chris. His parents had a
Yeah.
6-bedroom house. They
Yeah.
didn't get rid of their house. They
No.
just kept the house.
Like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's different, but
I feel like, and that's why I don't want to speak it up in a negative. I think I don't think we could probably do a lot until we didn't have dogs. Like, I still feel like we have,
a family.
we
I
still
mean,
have two
the
dogs.
component, yeah.
We have backyard.
Yeah.
I don't know. I probably drink the Kool-Aid a little that when you have kids that go off to college and come back, they do like being able to come back to their room. They like being able
Absolutely.
to come to their safe spot.
I don't
you
even
know.
think. I'll tell you this. I don't even think that. Like even my kids, who had 2 households, their rooms look probably this. Like my youngest lives with me full time now.
Yeah.
And he goes over to his mom's house to visit for
Yeah.
holiday. His room looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
It ain't changed.
No.
And they got a big old house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it. I wouldn't change a bedroom unless someone bought a house.
Yeah. Like you have
Like
kids.
when you
right.
or get an apartment.
Right,
Like
when they
you're like,
live-
hey, I'm moving.
I live somewhere
I
else.
live somewhere
Right.
else.
This-
College, it's
yeah.
nothing. That's
It- right.
temporary. You might have to come here
Right.
and stay. But after that, so yeah, you even post that, the house factor, because I'm gonna speak pragmatic. You keep the house. You keep their car.
Yeah.
Like you keep
Right.
like even if they're in college
Right.
and they're like, hey, I'm going to college in California, their car sits in front of your
Right.
house. Like
Yeah.
like your daughter's car was out front.
Yeah.
Like until
right.
she
Until
decided
right.
until
She
she
finally
took
took it. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess.
So empty nesting is not the same.
I think it's
until
I think it's open ended. I think getting adjusted to your children not living with you 24/7 is a different experience than your children are living somewhere where they have obtained a job and they live
and
there
they're trying to establish.
and they're established and they may not even visit you for a year. They can't come home for Thanksgiving this
Yep.
year, that kind of thing. I
Yeah.
think that is true empty nesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now that I think about it, I do think we throw that around too loosely about what empty nesting is. And
Yeah.
so it's a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
Because you'll still have, let's say your youngest goes off to college. You still have Thanksgiving dinner. You still have Christmas.
Right.
So you do need the
Right.
house.
Right.
Ain't
Right.
nothing gonna change.
No, not for
Yeah.
not for a while. But
Okay.
yeah, so I know, I guess. So but establishing the space now where it's quiet in the evenings or they're not here. And you're right, by the time both of my kids reached their senior year, they were driving and taking care of business and
I called mine. I
Yeah.
was like, I bought you a car and I'll never see you no more. Like,
Right,
seriously. I was
right.
like, come by and say hi.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, no, I was looking. You're right. Because it is, at least with the empty nester, it is a phase.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, she's gone,
Right.
this is it.
Right.
Unless she goes military. But
Right.
even then, there's still
Yeah, I still think they come
holidays,
home.
there's still
Right.
Christmas and all that. Okay. So,
I-
you don't have to sell the house.
No,
time
not
soon.
just yet. Not just yet. I know. We've differed over the years, my husband and I, on that in the space of when that happens or when it's necessary. But I think even now having two decent sized dogs need a yard. I don't want to be committed to walking just because
Every
you
day?
got to poop.
No.
So
No.
it is nice to open your
So, you're
back
not
door.
moving to New York.
No, not moving to New York.
Yeah.
Not we're going to live in a what do you call them? Brownstones.
Brownstone.
Probably not living in an apartment. Maybe, ideally, maybe in some type of townhome that has a small yard.
Let me ask you a question. If you guys were to buy a second home, would you buy like a 2-bedroom? Like if you bought a place in Florida,
Oh, I wouldn't accommodate
you would
like
not accommodate
five
them.
of us. No.
No.
I mean, I think the perfect
You're like this.
rental.
Just your dad and I bought a place.
I think if you were in a space that you had the potential to sell it, or not sell it but rent it, I think you would still want 3 bedrooms. Is it uncommon to get a 3-bedroom down in those parts? 3 bedrooms perfect because you do have.
I don't need 3 bedrooms.
Well, I guess I look at the potential.
I've always
of-
looked at 2. Like when I'm
Okay.
like right now, and I've talked about this. If everywhere I'm looking at 2-2s.
Yeah.
Even that house that was in the Dominican, it was a 2-2.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's always sofas. There's always like it's just me.
Yeah.
And probably will be me and someone.
Yeah.
But if it's me and a lady, it's all I need is a 2-2. Because
Yeah.
if my brother comes, or if my brother and his wife comes, or if my kids come, then
Yeah.
I don't need a 3-2.
Yeah.
I don't have 2 kids.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would think even if we had something, I would want to rent it maybe. And I don't
No,
know.
you wouldn't.
No, I never rent my second home.
You would not want somebody in your second home.
So
I'm
what do you-
telling you.
I just feel like logistically, when you have a house and it just sits for.
Then you're gonna feel like when you go, it's not gonna feel like your house. You're gonna feel like you're at Airbnb.
So what do you do in those months that you just have somebody to pay them to winterize it and keep the toilets flushed and all that stuff?
That depends on how long your money is. Because no, seriously, because like Chris's parents,
Yeah.
she's like, I'm not renting my house. Like that was never an option.
Yeah.
They have their photos up, their
Yeah.
clothes in the closets, the
Yeah.
whole 9 yards.
I get that. I
Yeah.
just wouldn't want to just leave it empty.
Yeah, you're
for
not gonna
periods of
pluck down
time.
a few $100,000 and you're like, we go there XYZ a year. But again, empty nester. Remember, she would go there.
That's true. Yeah.
She would go there
Yeah.
while he was still doctoring,
Yeah.
and she'd be like, "I'll see when you get here."
Yeah, that's true. If you're empty nesting, there's nothing holding you to how often you really want to go.
Absolutely.
Look
Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Like, wait a minute now. Hold up. Yeah,
I can see that. I can see that.
Because think about it. If you had no kids home right
Yeah.
now, why would you be here?
No, you're right. I just would be.
You'd be like, I'm. It's warm down
Yeah,
there. I'm going
yeah,
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right about that.
And show up when you show up.
Well, and I'm even now with one. It's been easier to. I've been able to take a few trips the last couple of years because she's
Yeah.
old enough and sustainable to do her own thing. I'm like, I'm going to California. I'll see you on Monday.
Right.
And that,
right.
yeah, that kind of thing. So.
Yeah. But yeah, if you had a second
Yeah.
home, then
Yeah.
you're like, I'm just gonna go down to the house and I'm gonna be there for a few weeks, and your dad's gonna join me and come if you want, and if you don't, go to the house.
No. Yeah, I think about one of my other friends, and they had a place, and they went regularly enough that I think it wasn't a concern about whether the pipes would freeze over or any
Right,
of that. They
right.
were down there for fairly frequently,
Yeah.
probably once a month.
Right.
So
Right. If you do 1 week, if you just did 1 weekend a month,
yeah,
I don't
Yeah.
know. Again, there's a dollar amount in the plane ticket. Because when I met that guy that was in Cleveland, his son went to University of Florida or Florida State, whatever it is, and they bought a place they bought a condo in Florida in Tampa. He's like, it was $200,000, and he was like, kids are gone. He's like, but when we go to Florida, we go to see our son.
yeah,
And then his son would call him and say, can I go buy the house?
Yeah.
He's like, I know he's taking his friends over to the condo and stuff and hanging out. I
Yeah.
don't care. He was
Yeah.
like, but it worked out that they were from Cleveland, so I think they had a Frontier, someone direct flight,
Yeah.
nominal
Yeah.
amount of money.
Yeah.
He was like, my wife would just be like, hey, I'm going to the house. Like he's like, she would literally get off work early,
yeah,
jump on a plane, sometimes I wouldn't even go. She would just be down there. She'd take our son to dinner
Yeah.
or go to lunch,
Yeah.
and she would stay down there and come back.
Okay.
Look at you. Don't let
My
me get
wheels
you
are
put out.
turning.
Right. Your husband's like, wait a minute, Don, this podcast is gonna cost me a condo. No, that's good, because I do believe that you're right. We throw that word around like it's permanent and quick. It's not.
It's a process.
It's a process.
And it's not an easy process. It's definitely been an adjustment to go from one kid to 2 kids gone. Like, it was an adjustment when our son left, and it was an adjustment when our daughter left, and it was
Yes.
probably a bigger adjustment when she left, because there you have 3 kids and you're down to 1.
Correct.
And then you have one that's, a teenager. So
right.
she's not, she doesn't require
ain't
a
talking
lot. No,
Yeah, she ain't talking
we're uncool and all that other
Right.
stuff. now, so.
Right.
So yeah, I definitely think.
Does she even go to dinner with y'all?
No.
Oh yeah. So you're already phased
Yeah.
into the empty nesting.
It's a thing, and it's funny.
She's like, bring me
because-
something back.
Yes, and that's the oddity with that is that I'm okay with that, but my other half, it's always been a little bit of a challenge. She's kind of like, so you think he's going? Yeah, he's the one. Yeah,
struggling with the dynamics.
Yeah, in fact, I am. Yeah, I think more so than I would have originally thought.
Okay.
Especially when our son left. That was a bigger adjustment for him, I think, than it was for me.
Okay.
So you never know how it's going to go. Society will dictate it a certain way, but you don't really know how that's going to go. But as it is right now, she's perfectly okay with, you know. In fact, it's so funny. Sometimes I'll send the menu, and she's got to answer like within 30 seconds. Like it's she'll say like, this is what I want. So, but she's probably got very little interest to hang out with her parents, with no siblings with her. You know what I mean? Nothing to break that ice of conversation, or like, what are you talking about? You know?
Right.
So we're already there in that way, I think.
No, my Rochelle's just, my ex is gone. Bye, see ya. Like she was doing that years before. She would call me, hey, just letting you know we're going to be in Mexico.
Yeah.
Like that was not a problem for her. So even now, I think she traveled a lot last year. Yeah. And I think they've got trips lined up now. Mm-hmm. And so even like my son just informed me, like he was like, I'm taking a trip December 26th
of this year. Yeah.
So he's like, we're going to be in, I don't know if they're going to Mexico or Puerto Rico. I don't know where they're going. So already our Christmases, it's like cut by. Yeah. And then Jalen's birthday, he won't be, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we're already starting to get used to that dynamic where everybody's kind of
scattering. And I think this year we're taking a spring break trip here in a couple of weeks, and we're not all going. And that's...
Oh, this is the first one?
Yeah. So we actually, you know what? We went to California, and it was just 4 of us. But this one feels a little different because it's a cruise. So it's,
It's not going.
So Caden's setting up a situation where he's got something else going on.
Yeah, he's big time in it. He's big time in it.
So, so he's got his own agenda, and it's a great one. I'm not. I think it's wonderful. He's got some wonderful experiences under his belt. So he's a
college kid. He's making his way.
Yeah, he's creating a life.
He's carving it out. So
it'll be an adjustment, but I mean, I accept. That's the part of empty nesting is accepting your kids' wings, right? And
absolutely. Because it really isn't just about, now that we really took a deep dive into the conversation, it's not about the husband and wife or the parents having to adjust to it. It's about the kids, because you already know that cruise fiasco last year when my son was like, I can't go.
Yeah.
His mom was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
This is a family cruise.
Right.
And he was like, I can't go. I'm working. Yeah. And so that I saw that. Yeah. But that was the kids feeling empowered enough to say, I know this is what we normally do. Yeah. But this is what I'm going to do.
Right. Yeah. And it's tough. You got to be able to embrace that they're going to, find their path, and it's not always going to work out the way you want it to. I do not want to be the 70-year-old mother / maybe grandma. I'm also okay either way with that, for the record. But I don't want to find this place where we have tracked into a land of empty nesting. I don't think you can use that jargon for 20 years. Like, the empty nesting is when you've officially had all of your kids out for, I don't know what the statute of limitations. I just don't feel like you can pull that card for 20 years. And some people...
Like my mom?
Well,
My mom would be like, "I'm a single mom."
yeah.
I'm like, "I'm 40 years old. You're not a single
You're not a
mom. You're
single
just a
mom.
single person."
Yeah, you're a single person.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's funny because I think there are people that assign such a identity.
My mother was a mother.
And I
My
yeah,
mother
and I
was a
don't,
mother,
you know.
like true and true. So when she had grandkids, it
Yeah.
gave her a purpose again.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you,
Yeah.
she had no desire to be a single person traveling the world,
Yeah.
like enjoying
Yeah.
the fruits of being single.
Yeah. Yeah.
That did not speak to her at
and
all.
we can't guilt trip that we feel like, because I don't know, I'm somewhere on that fence where I honestly feel like I went to Napa with a friend a couple years ago, went to Vegas for my 50th. I liked how I felt when I was in those spaces, just me. You know?
Absolutely.
You know, I'm Kim. These people know nothing about me in this environment to know anything about my life.
Yeah.
Truthful,
Well, that's another podcast is
Yeah.
single traveling.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I didn't mind it.
Yeah,
I didn't mind it.
You might say true story.
Well, I was with some friends. We were at a bar restaurant a couple years ago. I had not gotten in the car I'm driving now, and I was still driving the minivan. And we were all outside talking because, you know, we kind of do that thing where we migrate from a place and then we still stand on the curb and talk. Then we stand in the parking lot and talk. So we were still talking, and we were getting ready to get in the car. And two guys walked by me. And I swear to you, I know what it was. I think they saw me and identified me as a mother with that van, but it was late. It was like midnight. And he walked past me and he looked at the car and looked at me and he said, "Good for you." And I thought, this sucks.
He patted you on the head.
Yeah, you're out, you're a mom,
Yeah.
you've got the mom-mobile that stamps you as a parent,
Yep.
as a mother specifically. And he was like, "Good for you guys." And I was like, "You suck." So
You couldn't get rid of that thing
yeah.
fast enough, could you? That's
I'm
why you
gonna
bought
tell
your car.
you, I was very much, even with the kids as we transitioned, those little milestones like no longer car seat, no longer booster. Then you have a car where you don't necessarily identify that you have children in it is a thing. And I think that's all part of the Kool-Aid or whatever it is
Yeah.
that stamps us poor women in that way. But and I want to say, being a mother is the best thing I've ever done. I'm very thankful for my 3 children. I wouldn't change a thing, but I do recognize the importance of self.
Yeah.
In the process,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. No. Single traveling, we're gonna get on that one
Yeah,
day because I'm
yeah.
telling you, I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's not about the
Yeah.
we'll
And I
get to
didn't do
that
anything
one.
crazy, but just going back to the room and be able to sleep in the middle of the bed and,
Right.
you know, like, oh, yeah, it was. I was
But
like,
see,
oh.
that to me is the part of the empty nester plus.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
okay.
like empty nester plus.
Yeah.
Because, I don't like, you know, being a single dude. I told my
Yeah.
kid before,
Yeah.
you might want to call before you come by unannounced. like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and you think about that now too.
Yeah.
Because you and your husband,
Yeah.
if you're empty nesters, they
Yeah,
turn
yeah.
the key and walk in.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, you might want to call. We're all going to be screaming.
Right.
No, that's real
Yeah.
talk.
No, you're right about that.
Yeah.
Like, don't assume.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
assume.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, there's sadness when your kids leave.
Yeah.
But I also believe you look forward to the
next chapter.
The next chapter.
Yeah. And I think that is okay. I think we have to remove guilt from roles to say that we can't be excited for every chapter of our lives. So we don't have, guilt behind, whatever.
Yeah.
Like if you want to run marathons, there's nothing wrong with that. And some lady on television saying, "Oh, you're not a good mother if you don't sacrifice yourself." Like, that's it.
No, but it's just because you, as an empty nester, because you like, your dad and I are going to Argentina. Like, you don't have the guilt of like, "Ooh, should we ask the kids?" Like, that's the other part of the empty nester that I think the not guilty part of like, no, we are going to Morocco for 10 days. You're not invited. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I will say this. I think that is difficult because we've had situations even when it wasn't Argentina where we have done things and our kids are like, "Where the hell are you right now?" Because they're looking at the 360 and you're like, "I don't have to include you in everything we're doing," and that wasn't even Argentina. So I don't know. I think that's an adjustment all in itself is to understand that we don't have to run. And
because they don't know you have a life without them.
Right. And they are like, "Why are you here?
Yeah, what
Why?
are y'all doing?
Yeah, what are
What
you
y'all
guys doing?
doing?"
Why are you out of town?" You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. That's probably just the ebb and flow of learning to function in a new role where you're parent second.
Okay. So let me ask you this real quick, and I know we're going to end this. Do you think it's a conversation that needs to happen in couple? I don't have a couple, so I don't have
Yeah.
nobody to talk to about
Yeah.
it. You and him,
Yeah.
do y'all have to go, hey, in 4 years she's going to be gone? Or do you, like we just established, yeah, so what, she's going to be gone?
I think on paper, everyone should have a conversation about what the plan is. Do I think that if you had 10 couples, 9 of them have that conversation? No, I think people
just
roll
comes up
with
on you
it.
fast.
You realize it, and then you're staring at each other on a couch. Like, who is this person?
Yes.
I do believe that. I
Yeah.
think so. Knowing that, would
Yeah.
it be easier? Because
You want Chipotle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want to eat? I don't
Yeah.
know. What do you want to eat?
Yeah.
And then everybody just 3 people or 2 people living in a house, and you're watching TVs in different rooms. All the stuff that happens when it's just 2 people.
Yes.
But I don't know that most people have that conversation.
I don't know.
And I
mean,
felt
obviously, I've been divorced longer than I was married.
yeah.
So
And I don't even know if you had it. What does that mean? It still could change in 4 years. You know,
like
so,
someone could say, I've really been thinking I want to go fly fishing or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or you're finding you're like, well, this is what we plan to do, and then 4 years later, you blow up with a podcast, and you're gone half the year. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know.
Podcasting.
Yes, podcasting,
Yes.
doing tours or
Yes.
whatever. And I know that's a
Yes.
reach. You know what I'm saying? You don't know,
No,
so
you
you
don't
can
know.
have an idea of where you think you're going to be, but I don't
Yeah.
even know if you
Yeah.
really know.
Yeah, I don't think Tabitha Brown thinking I was going to be in LA doing a podcast with her and Chance.
No.
No, I mean seriously. Like you think, wow, this is different.
Yeah.
We're booking
Yeah.
flights and doing
Yeah, I think and that's part of the beauty of, I think, life is
So
you're
the
not.
takeaway is just to be open.
Yeah, I think that is the takeaway. I think the takeaway is to be open
Okay.
and being open to discovering yourself as a couple, but discovering yourself and figuring out what works for you at that time and
Yeah.
being guilt-free with it. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, this has been a good conversation.
That was actually it was enlightening.
Yeah.
It really was.
No.
Like it's not as doomsday as people
No.
make it out to be,
No.
but then it's not as quickly as last one's out, sell the house. It's not that.
No,
it's not
not cut dry. And I mean, for me, I think we still would have, and I don't want to rush my dogs along, but I wouldn't even really think. I mean, unless we just found a smaller house with a yard. But to your point, when you have kids that are in school, they're still coming back and forth for holidays, still need a place to sleep.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes they bring friends.
And sometimes you bring friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Love it.
All
All
right.
right. To the next one.
Talk to you later.
All right. Bye.